Hey everyone, and welcome to my reading vlog for So Long and Thanks for All the Fish by Douglas Adams. This is the fourth book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, so I'm going to be doing a reading vlog for it because I am a co-host for the Don't Forget Your Towel Along, which is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy read-along currently happening over BookTube at the moment. I will leave a link down below to all my co-hosts as well as the Twitter account so you can check out all of the information and hopefully catch up with us. I mean, all of these books are very, very short, so it shouldn't be too hard to catch up. And this is a sci-fi series that is basically a weird, kind of plotless romp through space, essentially. There's nothing really else I can say about this because I don't know what this one specifically is about because I'm not looking up synopsises or anything else. I'm literally just going into these with no previous knowledge because even if you read the blurb, it's not going to give you much sort of information because these books are very, very sort of all over the place, kind of plotless, all the rest of it. So I don't really have any sort of idea about what this one's about. I can't even begin to tell you any sort of like my theories or anything because any theory I have will go completely and utterly out of the window within 5 minutes. So with that, I think I'm going to get on with it. I will start though by saying that I hope Trillian still continues on from where she had in the previous book an actual plot line, because in previous books, or the first two books, she had absolutely no plot whatsoever. In the third one she actually had some agency and a plot line. I'm hoping that continues through this one, but I'm not holding out hope. Apart from that, I've got nothing. I've got no hopes apart from hopefully some sort of overarching plot, but apart from that I've got no sort of ideas, expectations or anything, so I'm just going to get right into it and I will tell you what I think about it as I go along. So let's get reading. So this copy is the exact same as all my other ones, but this one's actually got like these two fish here in like paragraph breaks, and it actually has the chapters numbered like this instead of normal, and the chapters like start on the same page as the previous chapter's ending. I don't know why they did that because the others are sort of set out like a traditional book. Also don't have the fun page breaks, so interesting. I also reckon Arthur Dent is probably the one in the rain because it's usually Arthur Dent, and then we're going off immediately to Ford Prefect, I think, probably, because he's just been mentioned, so I'm guessing that's where this is going. But I'm just like, I know that Arthur's left everybody else, but now he's just stuck in the rain on Earth before the Earth is destroyed. So I'm a bit like, isn't that a bit of a paradox? No idea, don't know why I'm overthinking this. I just thought I'd point out that and just tell you where I am. So it sounds like we're now dealing in some sort of weird alternate timeline because the Vogon ships did not destroy the Earth. Instead, they just disappeared and everyone's thinking it's a CIA thing that happened and it was a mass hallucination. And then you've got this young girl called Fenny who is still like affected by it possibly, but she's obviously the one who had the revelation about like how the world could be better, that kind of thing. But her brother's treating her really badly and like basically just saying that like she's mad and is constantly like making sure that she's basically like just sedated all the time or in like psychiatric wards and things. And I know this was written in like the 80s, but the way he talks about her is still not right, and it's also the way like just talking about like a woman, this kind of thing, it feels very sort of, oh, she's hysterical kind of thing, which is kind of making me twitch a bit, I'm not gonna lie. And then also the fact that Arthur's like, oh my god, she's beautiful, I'm basically now obsessed with her, and it's like, really? Just really? Again? Like, every woman has to be like beautiful in this, and then also not so much at all, with the exception of the third book, but I've still got this much to go, so you never know. Trillian may turn up, Fenny may also do something that actually has a plot to it, who knows. But this is very sort of 80s viewing of women and mental health, which is making me twitch just that bit in that really uncomfortable way of, really shouldn't be saying that. But at the same time, this was written in the 80s. I have to keep on reminding myself that this was written in the 80s, where you could get away with saying stuff like that, but modern day me in 2023 is kind of twitching. Why do I have a bad feeling that the figure in the emergency suspended animation chamber is going to turn out to be Arthur Dent and everything else is in his head? Just got a bad feeling that that's what's happening right now, because Ford Prefect is giggling like anyone's business listening to the speaking clock while orbiting a moon and sending a signal down to a planet. I've got a feeling that all of this is going to be in Arthur Dent's head. I've just got a feeling that everything he's experiencing is all in his head and he's in suspended animation. Because I can't think of anybody else it would be, so that's my feeling at the moment. Don't know how I feel about that, but that is my current theory. I'm still finding it really sexist with how, like, obsessed Arthur Dent is with Fenny or Fenchurch. He's completely and utterly obsessed with her, despite the fact that he's never had a conversation with her that hasn't been interrupted or she's been basically sedated for, and he's completely obsessed with her, and I'm like, that's a bit creepy, and I'm glad that she seems to have given him the wrong number, judging by the, like, conversation between someone and the barmaid saying that there was a number on the back of a ticket. I don't know, but then, like, I was starting to waver a bit in, like, my interest in this, and then chapter 15 came along, and we're talking about a man who lives in a house called the Outside of the Asylum, and his name was simply John Watson. I am a Sherlock nerd. I am a BBC Sherlock nerd. I absolutely adore the TV show. I am obsessed with it. And Martin Freeman obviously plays John Watson. He also plays Arthur Dent in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy TV show. So that is a brilliant coincidence considering this was written in like the 80s. But I've suddenly gone, John Watson, what? It's clearly not going to be the John Watson I'm thinking of, but I'm suddenly like, okay, John Watson has now appeared. A John Watson has appeared. I am now intrigued. For all the wrong reasons, but to be honest, it's basically now the only thing keeping me going, along with also trying to figure out what the hell Ford Prefect is up to with the suspended animation thing going on. Because other than that, I'm kind of bored of this one, I'm not gonna lie. Because I'm just like, we're back to nothing happening again. We are literally back to nothing happening again, and Arthur Dent is just wandering around the Earth, and that's, well, he's not even wandering around Earth, he's just bumbling around England, and nothing really is happening. So I'm just kind of jogging along like, can something happen please, because this seems to be even like less plot than the previous books, which I didn't think was possible. So as a sort of sum up of this little sort of update, I'm a bit bored. It's back to being incredibly sexist again, and one-dimensional manic pixie dream girl woman archetype, and then John Watson has appeared. So I'm like, huh, is this about to get even weirder, or is it just a coincidence with the name? Who is John Watson in this? What is going on? My mind is going to be very confused when I'm imagining Arthur Dent as Martin Freeman, and then also this character knows John Watson also as Martin Freeman. So this is going to get very confusing in my head if those two ever meet, but basically, yeah, struggling with this one to say the least. Definitely struggling with this one until the words John Watson appeared, so we'll see how the rest of this goes. The dolphins really have disappeared from the Earth at the exact same time as it exploded, and they haven't come back again, even though nobody else seems to sort of remember anything. They just think it was a hallucination. And our manic pixie dream girl of Fenchurch wants to go see John Watson because he may have the answers. Meanwhile, Arthur's still treating her like a manic pixie dream girl, and I'm just a little bit like, okay, we're starting to get somewhere now, but we've literally got this much left, and we've gotten through this much book so far, and we're only just getting to, like, anything really happening. There's, like, 50 pages left, and I'm like, we could have gotten to this sooner, and if you cut out all of the manic pixie dream girl stuff, this would have happened a lot quicker. It would have been a lot less problematic as well, but I'm still, like, there's things that are slightly intriguing in terms of how this John Watson, like, ties into this, that kind of thing. I reckon it's going to turn out to be Ford Prefect, or it's going to turn out that all of this is still inside Arthur's head and he's the one in the, like, suspended animation chamber with Ford Prefect or something. I don't know who else that could be, possibly Zaphod, because we haven't seen him yet, or Trillian, because we haven't seen her yet, I don't know. Wouldn't be Marvin, because Marvin you can just shut down. I don't know. Slightly confused. Not sure if I'm enjoying this. Just gonna wait and see what happens in this last 50 pages to see if anything makes any sense, or if this was even more rambly than his previous books. So let's see. So chapter 26 is literally just Arthur Dent having sex with Fenchurch in the air on a Boeing 747 as it's flying. I mean, it's not explicit in any way, but it's clear that that's what's happening, and it's like, it felt gratuitous. It felt gratuitous, and like, there's an entire like chapter in here as well that I've just read dedicated to like the fact that the chronicler has cut out all of the boring bits, like Arthur Dent going to sleep and all the rest of it, which, fair enough, that's fine. But do we really need to know that Arthur Dent like has had sex? No, I don't care. I do not care one whit about that. And it also said that if you don't care about stuff like that, skip to the final chapter where Marvin turns up, and I'm very, very tempted to do that, but I've only got like, oh my god, I've still got 50 pages left. Well, no. Yeah, I've got basically 50 pages left. I thought I only had about 40. Damn it. Anyway, I am going to carry on because this is for a read-along, but at the same time I'm just a bit like, I don't care about what Arthur's up to. I couldn't care less what he's up to, especially when it's something like that. It is gratuitous. I don't need to know. I do not care whatsoever. Just get on and do some sort of storyline or something, because this one feels even more meandery than the previous ones, which is saying something, because the previous books have been really, really meandering. I'm so bored I can't even talk. This is turning into a really negative reading vlog, but this is really, really not working for me whatsoever. And if this wasn't for a reading vlog, I would have DNF'd this by now and thrown it across the room. I may still throw it across the room. That may make me feel better, but this is definitely working the least for me out of all of the books so far. But luckily I've only got 50 pages left and then one other book and then it's all done. Yay. I've now officially finished this and I do not understand a single point to this book. Was there any point? I mean, there never seems to be any sort of point to these books, but this one's felt really pointless because everything that was happening with Ford Prefect, which was actually marginally interesting, where he's on that ship, he's got the like, what's it called, the cryogenesis chamber thing, he's got the speaking clock like on the speakers throughout the ship, all the rest of it he's facing like this series of ships that are battling each other. It turns out he's literally just kidnapped someone who's like the president or CEO of like a like a company, and he's just racking up their bill because they don't make good stuff. So it wasn't anything to do with Arthur Dent whatsoever until Ford just landed back on Earth again to take Arthur and Fenchurch. This is how much she stuck in my mind. I forgot her name despite the fact that I was just reading it like back into space again to go see God's final words, and it's literally just, we apologise for the inconvenience. It's like, what was the point of this book? Especially this last chapter, which is talking about one of the greatest benefactors of all mankind and how he created a superfly that could figure out how to fly through the open half of a half-open window, and also an off switch for children, which then stops some invaders from invading. And I think this last line completely and utterly sums up this book perfectly, that says there was a point to this story, but it has temporarily escaped the chronicler's mind. I think that just sums up this book perfectly, as in, there may have been a point, but it feels like Douglas Adams completely forgot what the point was and just sort of rambled for 200 pages. And this book just annoyed me because it was absolutely pointless and plotless, and there was just nothing happened. This was literally just like Douglas Adams. I think this one was written like 10 years after the original 3, so he'd come back to it. It felt like maybe someone had said, if you write another one, we'll give you a big payout and like a big payday for it. So he just wrote anything that came to mind more than usual, didn't bother to come up with any sort of particular storyline to it. None of it was set in space, or barely any of this was set in space, and there was just no point to it. There was absolutely no point to it, and I just don't understand what the point of this one was, because it was just like, Arthur Dent just bumbles everywhere more than usual, which I didn't think was possible because Arthur Dent bumbles for the last 3 books. But in this one, he bumbles about, gets a girlfriend who is the literal definition of manic pixie dream girl with no discernible personality whatsoever, further than the fact that she is a manic pixie dream girl who is apparently possibly the person who came up with the way of world peace or whatever it was just before the world exploded, and they fall in love. They have a lot of sex in space while in the air while flying, and then they fly off a Ford Prefect to go see this final message that God left, and then it's just, we apologise for the inconvenience. There was nothing to do with anything. The John Watson thing didn't lead anywhere. This was just Arthur Dent bumbling around with a manic pixie dream girl because there was no point. There was no point in this book whatsoever. There was no enjoyment from it. It wasn't funny. It wasn't even mildly amusing. It just annoyed me the whole way through because it was sexist and pointless. It was just pointless. It was absolutely pointless. Like it says at the back here, that the point of the story had temporarily escaped the chronicler's mind. I feel like that just sums up this book entirely, like I said, and I'm going to put it down now because I want to throw it across the room because I've just wasted 4 days reading this. This book is really short. It is precisely 191 pages and I just wasted 4 days reading it. It took me that long because I kept on putting it down because I was getting so annoyed and so bored of it. So I'm now going to go and edit this vlog so then I don't have to think about this book anymore, and then I'm going to go and read something with a plot line. So with that, I am going to leave this video here. So if you did enjoy this in some way or other, I apologise that this one was so negative. It's just how I felt. But if you did enjoy this in some way or other, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me a recommendation for a book with a plot that you think I'd enjoy. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a, I don't know, spaceship emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which actually has plot lines to it and are actually enjoyable to read. So that will be linked down below, as well as a link down below as well to my Etsy and Redbubble store, which sells bookish merch to books I actually enjoy. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, everyone, bye!